Hello lovely people, it's good to have you back on another interesting video where we'll be making a Batwing top. Very big thank you to you, my beautiful subscribers, and to those who subscribe now, welcome to the family. If you would like assistance with your personal projects or you would like to book for a lesson, send an email to misstitches@gmail.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook as Miss Stitches. Also, if you would like to interact with like minds, you can join our Facebook group where we share ideas on sewing and learn by interaction. Without further ado, let's go straight into today's business. For this Batwing top, I'll be using 1 meter of chiffon fabric and 1/4 meter of jersey black fabric. So the half length is 16 inches and that's what we'll be using for this tutorial. So we'll be using 18.5 inches to determine the length of my fabric. Then for the width, I'm using the entire width of this fabric, which is about 60 inches. Note that my first fold was done on the width so that the longest part becomes the shoulder line. Then the second fold was done at the middle. So now on my midpoint of the folded part, I'll just measure out the neckline. For the neckline, I'll be using 6 inches. I'm using 6 inches because I'm going to overlap it a little bit in front. And at the back too, I'm going to hold down the waist, the neckline a little bit. That's why I'm using 6 inches. So by the time I reduce it at the back, I will have 3.5 inches, which is the actual neckline I want to use. Then for the depth of my neckline, I'll use 12.5 inches. That's how deep I want the neckline to look. For the back neckline, I'll use 1.5 inch depth. I need to connect the back neckline first. So I'll mark my front neckline now. At the point I marked 12.5. So this is the line. First I'll cut out the back neckline before cutting the front one. So to cut the front one, I'll need to shift away the back neckline, like so. So I've shifted the back neckline. Now I will cut my front neckline. So I'll cut the front part as well. And this is the point I'm going to overlap, like so. Okay, that's clear. So now I'll just turn up the neckline using a bias binding. I also align the back neckline. I'll align the back neckline, measure my 3.5 inches. Then the remaining 2.5 inches, I'm going to sew it up. Once you've sewn the back, you choose either to trim out the fabric or iron it in. What I simply did was to flatten it out and give it a good press. So now I'll use my bias binding to turn the neckline. That's from the front all the way around. So guys, I've turned the neckline with my bias binding and I've also hemmed the sleeves. So now I'm going to overlap this front part. That's the neckline. I'm going to overlap them. This black band measures 10.5 inches in width. Then the length is the waist circumference. The waist circumference minus 4 inches because it's a stretchy fabric. So that's why I've taken away 4 inches. But if you're using a fabric that is not stretchy, you will need to work with the actual waist circumference and you add your ½ inch seam allowance. So next I'm going to join the two edges of this fabric. Then I'm going to sew it, after which I will turn it out and use it for the waistband. So I've sewn this part, I've sewn the sides. Now I'm going to turn it out like this. Okay. So you will turn and align it like this. Now this waistline, you can either choose to pleat it like so, or you make a straight running stitch and gather it on the waistline. So I'll prefer to use a gather stitch, but you can use pleats, whichever you choose to. So guys, I've done my gathers at the back and front waistline, as you can see. So here's my front waistline with our overlapped front part. Okay, so this is it. Next is to sew it to our waistband. Once you've aligned this properly on the waistline, you need to pin it in place. Now just determine the midpoint from the front waistline, then you pin it to the midpoint of your pleated, of your folded jersey fabric. Now extend this point to the edge. Okay. So you can drag up the pin it up at this side. Then you also pin the other side to the other side of the waistline, ensuring that you spread it out evenly. So flip it over like this, and also flip the back waistline over as well, and pin this point as well. Just derive the midpoint. Then pin the midpoint. I'm also going to pin the side. You can make it to overlap a little bit at the side, just like so, since you're not going to be sewing it. But if you want, you can just sew it a little bit, just join the two sides with like a 1.5 inch or so. But I'm not sewing it, I'll just pin them to overlap a little bit on the side. So to this other side as well, I'll also pin it to overlap, maybe with like 1 inch or so, overlap like so, then pin it in place. Now I'll just sew around this waistline. I'll make sure I spread this gather evenly. Some quick tips while sewing around the waistline: ensure to give the spandex fabric, that's your jersey fabric, a little stretch, because you know that we took away some inches for the waistline from the actual waist measurements because it's stretchy. So just give it a little stretch so it will align properly with your actual waist circumference. Also ensure that the place you joined the black fabric is placed either at the side or at the back pattern, definitely not in front, you know, as it wouldn't look so good in front. So just place it by the side or at the back. So this is just how the top will look like when you're done. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Ensure to like this video and please share with your friends.